Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan, and it is time. The wait is over. Super Bowl 55 predictions will be made by all three of us in this video. We are all so excited. We've waited a long time for this video. It's finally coming out. Our picks are coming to you. Let's get started.
Yeah, so first off, I just want to give some shout outs here. So, my cousin Carmen, the older Carmen, he actually predicted this matchup at the beginning of the season. So, shout out to him for that.
None of us did that.
Nope, none of us did that. Then his son, little Carmen, he gave me a score prediction. So, I want to give it to you guys real quick. He had Bucks 34-30.
Okay.
So, we'll give our picks in just a second here. First of all, I've got to say, we got to preface this with this has been a long time coming this season. We did not know if we are going to get to this point where we are at right now.
Yep.
And we are here, as Tyler said. Through all this COVID stuff, the NFL worked it out beautifully. I've been saying it for a couple weeks now, but this is the big time to say it. So huge shout out to the NFL for getting us to this game. We are pumped. It was a fantastic season. It's not over yet. One more game, and it's a biggie. But with that being said, let's get into our picks for this video. We'll give you our picks right off the bat, and then we'll do some discussion because we don't want to leave you hanging. We'll give you our picks, and we'll give you why we're giving our picks. So I'm starting as usual, and these guys, they know who I'm picking.
Oh yeah, we had even before the AFC Championship was over, he made it very clear who he was going to be picking.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just to be clear, we only know Jordan's pick just because he's so adamant on it.
Yeah.
Ryan and I don't know each other's. Jordan doesn't know either our picks, so it's a surprise to all of us here. We've been holding into this moment, so let's not wait any longer.
Yeah, you'll hear why I'm adamant on it too as well. I have a whole thing ready to say, which I'll talk about when we get to that point. But for now, I'll just give you my pick. And my pick is the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they've been rolling. I think they continue to roll. This playoffs has been fantastic. This whole season has been flipping fantastic again for the Chiefs. So I don't see them losing. I have them winning 30-24. I think that was my score prediction.
You got an MVP?
Oh yeah, we're doing that now too.
Yeah.
MVP Travis Kelce.
Oh.
Very Jordan.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Very, very Jordan prediction. I mean, I'm surprised you had the game being a one-score game because the way you were talking as that AFC Championship
I've
was
warmed
ending.
up a bit more.
Oh, wow.
But still not enough.
It's crazy.
All right, man.
All right. Well, normally I'd just like to say with Super Bowls, normally I have a knee-jerk reaction to these. As soon as we get the matchup, I'm like, oh, that team. Oh, that team. That was not the case. It took me about, 4 or 5 days to finally make up my mind. I went back and forth. But I just made my decision. I think it was last Friday night, Thursday night. You get the idea. I thought long and hard about it, and I just thought, wow, this team is really coming together. They found their identity. They're being as good as we knew they could be, and they finally have been a Super Bowl winning caliber team. Yes, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are my pick to win the Super Bowl. I've got them winning 30-27. It'll be a close back and forth game, and my MVP, a surprise for you, Shaquille Barrett.
Oh, Jordan
yeah.
took a guess.
It's not that much of a surprise.
It's a defensive player.
Yeah, that's not that bad.
Okay, well, who did you think it was?
I thought Scotty Miller.
No. Oh, that'd be a creative one, but no. I mean,
All right,
never know, though.
Just to preface it, I was guessing a few days ago on who it was because he said it was a surprising player, and I guessed that he was going to pick the Bucs, so he's naming a bunch of their players off. But anyways, I think, though, if the Bucs do win this game, Shaquille Barrett or Devin White, one of these defensive players, are going to have to be the MVP, in my opinion.
All right, well, I guess I get to split the tie here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Jordan
know
has
who's
guessed who
gonna
I picked. Ryan has guessed who I picked. But, I mean, here's the moment right now where I announce my pick. Well, first of all, despite what Jordan might say, both these teams well-deserved to get to this moment. The Chiefs have been absolutely amazing the past 2 years, and the Buccaneers have beaten the top teams in the NFC, beating Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, to get to this moment. So this is huge, clearly, for both teams. Now, I was wrong last year on picking the 49ers to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And that was a regrettable decision for me. And you know what? I was like, I can't pick against the Chiefs again. And then he said, you know what? It's Tom Brady. I'm picking against the Chiefs. I'm picking the Buccaneers to win this game. 33-29.
Majority, baby. Majority. Let's go.
Sometimes the majority is not the best.
You're right, but hey.
I just think it's tough to, bet against Tom Brady. It's tough to bet against the Chiefs as well.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that more later. And, I'm picking the Buccaneers, Ryan. You were joking at the beginning of the video. I think you got to go defensively with the MVP just based on how good these teams have been. And, I mean, I got to go with my guy here just because I think a safety could end up being the difference between it with the deep passing of the Chiefs. and I'm picking Antoine Winfield to be
It's
my
actually the opposite.
Super Bowl MVP. Very out there prediction. That's just because I have loved Antoine Winfield
about
coming
that.
out of Minnesota,
I'll read that.
and that's what I'm going with. So I got the Buccaneers, and let's open this conversation up.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick before we fully open up the our MVP picks. I got the odds pulled up here on oddshark.com. Jordan picked Travis Kelce. He's plus 1,000. I went with Shaquille Barrett. Higher than I thought. He's plus 4,500. So not as out there as I would have thought. And
That's
Antoine
why I
Winfield,
guessed.
not on this list, but by no means do I consider that impossible because he has had a great year for them.
Yeah, and the only I did it just because I think a safety could be the difference, like
Yeah. I
think
between
the
it with the
opposite.
deep
I think
passing.
I-
I almost went
yeah.
Devin White, but then I decided
I thought about
Antoine
him too.
Winfield.
I would say Devin White or Ryan's pick, Shaq Barrett, if
Mhm.
I'm picking the Bucs soon, which as I said, I'm not, because
No.
their way to beat this Chiefs team is Mahomes is going to make plays, and even if you get pressure on him, sometimes he's still going to escape. But pressure on any quarterback, on Mahomes, on the other side on Tom Brady, who's been doing it for a long time. If either team is able to get pressure on the opposing quarterback, it's going to be a lower scoring game than we think it's going to be. So if the Bucs do end up winning this game and stopping the Chiefs offense enough, it's going to be because of the pass rush. So, anyways, that's just my take on it. So is this my segment now?
Yeah, well, I mean, you
Should
can
we get
mix
it over
you
with?
can mix it in here.
Yeah.
Let's not make it a complete segment of Jordan
Yeah.
talking. You can mix in your talking points here, but it is surprising to see that we have two Buccaneers picks because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the majority of Super Bowl picks have been going to the Chiefs for good reason. It was close, and same thing as
Honestly,
Ryan.
I've seen it split. from what
It's
I've-
been
okay.
pretty close, but I think it favors the Chiefs at least from what I'm seeing, and that
Yeah,
makes
okay,
sense to me. But I thought about it for a long time, as did Ryan, and I just went. The Buccaneers have just been beating teams that we didn't expect them to beat, and I think they can do it one more time. People didn't expect them to beat the Saints. They beat the Saints. People did not expect them to
Yeah.
beat the Packers at all, and they did it. So I picked it one more time, and Jordan, tell me why you think I'm wrong.
Well, I have a whole order of things that I wanted to say, but
In typical Jordan fashion.
yeah. So first of all, I'd like to make it clear that I told these guys that the Buccaneers were not deserving of being in the Super Bowl, and from what I'm going to say, you might get that vibe, but I would like to make it clear right now that any NFL team, all 32 NFL teams, do deserve to be in the Super Bowl. Yes, if the Jets somehow got here, they deserve to be in the Super Bowl because of how hard they work all season. Even
Especially
if
in
you
a year
can't
like
win
this.
games, especially in a year like this, every team is deserving of a Super Bowl. Doesn't mean that you should get there, but every team works hard enough to deserve it, or at least I would hope so. But with that being said,
What if Antoine Winfield doesn't play in the game?
Well, then you can obviously make a second pick in a
My
future
second
video.
pick would be Devin White.
Okay.
okay, there it is. But
I'm sorry, just
I'd
thinking
also
about
like
that.
to clarify that I really hate no Buccaneers player. I have nothing against them. I like Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. I like Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller, and
Tom
I'll get to him in
Brady.
a second. I like both running backs, Jones and Fournette. I've always liked Tom Brady, and going back to these years with the Patriots, there were so many Patriots haters out there every time they were in the Super Bowl. So many people wanted them to lose because of Tom Brady. I love Tom Brady. I wanted him to win. I respect his greatness then. I respect his greatness now. So it's nothing against Tom Brady at all. And I am a huge fan of this defense. I think they've really turned it on these past couple weeks. And as I've mentioned a few times already, if they win this game, it's going to be because of that defensive unit. So I'd just like to make that clear right off the bat. And I also made that next point clear earlier that I have on here. But now, I am a conservative sports fan. That's why I thought you were going to join me with the Chiefs, but I got the vibe you were picking the Bucks, and I was right. I'm a
did.
more conservative sports fan. So I think the Chiefs, the Packers, and the Bills were really the only worthy teams this year. And even my Super Bowl prediction at the beginning of this season, the Saints, I would not say they were worthy because their season was up and down, and that playoff game was not good against the Buccaneers. I think they beat themselves. And for some reason, my Chicago Bears looked like they were in the game for a while with the Saints, which should not have been happening for a team that I thought was going to be so good. So even my prediction, I would say, would not even be in that group that I feel is worthy to be in. Now, of course, they deserve to be in. The Bucks too. They're just not my worthy category group. But also, as I talked about, the Bucks have had their struggles all season. Ryan mentioned it in his opening to who he was going to pick, that they had their struggles and they're finally putting together down the line. And Ryan, I do agree with you that they're putting it together down the line. But there has also been some games where it looked like they're putting it together, and then things fell apart again. Now these playoff games, they've been a bit better with that. I truly believe the Saints beat themselves, and I think that Packers game was much better. But they are also in a close game with Washington. I'm going to go through a few games right now just to tell you So the Chargers game, they were down 24-14 at half. They came back in that game to win it. But with that Chargers team, I love Justin Herbert and what the Chargers did this year. But they probably should not have been down that much in the first half. So that's just one of their tough starts. And they lost to the Bears with Nick Foles. It was 20-19 when Foles had under 250 passing yards, only one touchdown and a pick. And the Bears only had a whopping 35 rush yards on the ground. Somehow they managed to lose that game. They won narrowly over the Giants, 25-23, when the Giants were 1-7. And although they did steamroll the Packers and the Raiders after that, I will give them credit where credit is due. That's what I'm talking about. Those games where they looked really good, where they steamrolled some teams, and then they got ripped by the Saints, 34-23 and 38-3 after the Giants game. Although we know what happened in the playoffs, obviously. And then they beat the Rams 27-24 and beat the Chiefs by 27. Wait,
didn't the Rams beat them?
Beat by Rams.
Okay, yeah.
27-24, and beat by Chiefs 27-24 in that game that we all know was closer than it actually was. That Chiefs-Bucks game. I feel like across the table we could agree that the one we saw earlier this season, the Chiefs had the upper hand in that game, right?
Yes.
It was a lot of first quarter.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers just were not prepared for that. And without that
they made it a game
that's
late.
definitely a game.
Yeah, they made it a game really
The Chiefs
late.
didn't score in the fourth, so that was a big reason to it. But, so they kind of did not look too good in that game. And towards the end, they kind of picked it together. 31-27 win over the Falcons, who Chiefs were also in a close game with. So just wanted to mention that. They were both in close games with the Falcons. But the difference is that the Chiefs' worst game was without Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So that just makes perfect sense. If you don't know, I'm a huge fan of him. So that's why they played again against the Falcons, okay? He'll be in for the Super Bowl. And then they roll over the Lions and the Falcons. Those were fantastic games leading to the playoffs. And then the Washington game, as I mentioned earlier, probably closer than it should have been.
Yeah.
And then they had the game handed to them by Drew Brees, I believe, against the Saints in the playoffs.
They played good against them. They
played
got to
fine.
make those.
We'll respond to
interceptions.
this. We'll respond to this in a second.
Yeah.
But let him go.
I believe I agree with you that they played good in the first half, but in the second half, I think Brady was not playing very well. He was missing many throws. There were some plays that should have been interceptions that were not for Brady. And Drew Brees would just hand it off the ball like it was candy to little kids just walking down the street on Halloween or something, just throwing it up to them and all excited to get the balls and to all their touchdowns in that game were off of turnovers, by the way, off of bad Drew Brees turnovers and a bad fumble by Antoine Winfield that he forced, but that ball should have been held on to. But
it's still a good play by forcing the fumble.
That's a Super Bowl MVP play right there.
Hey, time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell, I guess. And then you can make the argument against the Packers. They played a much better game. I believe Aaron Rodgers played very well in that game. I just think the Packers defense played awful for what they had been the past few weeks. And I think Mike Pettine's going to be gone, so maybe he'll be the one taking the butt end of that stick. So I do believe that they did deserve to beat the Packers. Looking back on it after the game, I was not happy with the result, but I do feel like they were the better team in that game. As I said, I'll give credit where credit is due. But then also, talk about the Bucks. Just listen to the last point. Don't worry. Yeah. I talked about the Bucks a lot, but I'll get to the Chiefs, who I picked real quick. I believe the Chiefs are good enough this year to have been undefeated. We know they lost to the Raiders in that game, and really, the Chiefs played a fantastic game in that game, but the Raiders played even more fantastic, their best game of the season by far. I think that if they don't lose that game to the Chiefs, they win Week 17. They're looking at possibly a perfect season with the win in this Super Bowl. So I feel like a team that could have something like that really deserves to win. They played great all year. And then looking at the defenses now, with the Chiefs, you think Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, all these guys, I can keep going down the line. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, got to mention him in there. But their defense has been shockingly underrated this season. 6th ranked passing defense in the regular season. 7th ranked rushing defense in the regular season. By the way, the Bucks were 2nd. I'm not going to leave them out. They had a good rushing defense, and they still do. And then 10th in points against. The Bucks were 9. So they're right in the thick of things for being one of the better defenses in the league. It's not recognized. So that balance on both sides of the ball is why I think they're better than the team that won the Super Bowl last year, why I think they will win the Super Bowl this year. I've talked for a while. I'll let you guys run.
Yeah, you sure have talked for a while. And you were talking about some of the losses as you went through literally every single game that they played.
No, let him go. This is actually funny.
I forgot one point. The most important reason on here, though, is I bolded it. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
That's why they're going to win the game.
The Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they got like 3 yards in the AFC Championship.
What?
Yeah.
They didn't run it very much. Plus, Darrell Williams did good.
Yeah.
I like Darrell Williams, just not Le'Veon Bell.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're talking about losses. I mean, like there's been fluke losses with the Chiefs and won this year, I guess, with the Raiders, but they almost lost to the Falcons. Younghoe Koo missed that field goal.
I explained it to you.
But
Clyde
I mean,
wasn't playing.
yeah, whatever. But there's games that you can look at the Chiefs schedule and you go, wow, that was close. But with the Super Bowl, it's one last game. It's who's going to be better from 5:30 to, I don't know, 8:30 on.
I mean,
January
halftime's a
7th.
little longer.
That's
not
true,
important. Not important.
But from 5:30 on to the end of the game. And I think the Buccaneers, with that defense that you talk about, you're talking about how the Chiefs' defense is underrated. This defense is not underrated at this point because it has just proven to be so good with all these young guys and the stacked line. And then you look at the offensive side of it. Like this roster looks like a Super Bowl winning roster, as does the Chiefs. I am expecting to see a great game. That's just because I want to see a great game. I really do think it's going to be close as well. With these two quarterbacks, we got to talk about that. Mahomes and Brady. Are we going to see the passing of the baton? Brady loses the Super Bowl to when Patrick Mahomes starts to be the guy that takes his team.
Well, Brady said
to
he's
many
going to
Super Bowls.
45.
Yeah, past
he opened
45.
the idea.
I mean, the way he's playing, he could definitely go to 50 if he keeps playing like this.
Why not push 55 at this point?
Well, that's a stretch, but we'll see. Who knows? Because the guy is literally a superhuman at this point. This is his 10th Super Bowl.
Yeah, my dad's in the room. He's around the age 55. He wants to go out and play.
Well, that would not end well. All due respect. But I think he agrees with me, but he would never admit to it. But that's not the point of the video. I just think a couple hours in one day, the Bucs are gonna barely scratch the surface and be better.
Yeah, you're making a great point there. And Jordan, I'm kind of with you about the Bucs' early season struggle. Because if this game is in week 4, yes, Kansas City wins by 2 scores. But I'm not really looking at what happened in week 5 or week 8. Like Tyler said, this is the Super Bowl. It's 60 more minutes of football to see who's the best right now, not in September. I just think the Bucs, they found their identity. Before the season, we looked at their roster and we said, oh my goodness, with Tom Brady, with all these additions, the talent at the skill positions, how can this team not be a Super Bowl contender? And they really weren't playing to their level. And I think that what Jordan mentioned, when they lost to the Bears on that Thursday night game on primetime, a game they were expected to win, and then there was the whole Tom Brady, 4th down issue, and then there was, rumors of a feud between him and Bruce Arians. That was the low point of their season. But really, since then, and especially towards the end of the season in December, and especially in these playoff games in January, they have played like a Super Bowl caliber team, and they've at least shown that they have the talent to make a run, because they made the run, and I think they can get one more. You just look at the way they've really been able to put it all together on offense, because you look the last time they played the Chiefs, it wasn't all in sync. They weren't able to stretch the field, but now it's all coming together. They got guys making plays, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Even Antonio Brown, he wasn't playing in the NFC championship, but in their first playoff game against Washington, he did a lot of good things. Leonard Fournette has had a great postseason. I expect him to have an impact in the big game. But you're right, Jordan. They did struggle early in the year, and I acknowledge that. But I'm saying that right now, I think Tampa has the talent to beat Kansas City in 60 minutes of football on February 7th of 2021. Not necessarily if it was back in September, but I think right now they've, really grown throughout this season. They've come together and they've faced adversity, made adjustments. I think that right now the Buccaneers can do it. 4 months ago, no, but now, yes.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not saying they haven't grown, because they certainly have, but I'm just saying they haven't grown enough, I guess you could say. I think that defense has grown enough. I think they're fantastic. And as I'm mentioning for like the 80th time already, if they win this game, it's going to be because of them. But I still think that offense that had a lot of new pieces to it does need some work. Chris Godwin, now in these last few weeks, he's had his struggles. Like Evans hasn't got the ball as much. Gronk hasn't really been targeted as much. I love Leonard Fournette.
You've got so many weapons.
I know.
You're going to be spreading it
But
around.
I'm saying,
Think about that as well. They're not playing up nearly to their full potential. If they go out there in
that's
that
a scary
hour
thing.
of football, and they could end out destroying the Chiefs,
Yeah.
and the Chiefs
the
with their
Chiefs
offense
players go
could
out
easily
there
do
and
the
do it
same
too.
thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's just what ifs at this point. But based off of what I've seen, in my opinion, I just don't think down this stretch their offense hasn't played the way I wanted them to see. Ryan, or I wanted to see them play. Ryan, you mentioned Leonard Fournette. That's one I do agree with. I think Leonard Fournette's going to have a big game in this game. He's really did not play that much during the regular season. Reasons for I can't really tell you, but he has his rest, and now it's his show. It looks like, although I do like Ronald Jones as well. So I do have to mention, I'm giving credit where credit is due. I just don't think the receiving corps has been doing as good as I want it to do. I think the backups have been stepping up more. I think Tyler Johnson,
Yeah.
Scotty Miller, those are the guys that are making more plays now. And then to Tom Brady, I love Tom Brady, but in his last few games, he's had his tough points. In the Saints game, he's had his tough points. In the Packers game, in that second half, I think I wrote it down somewhere. I'll have to try to find it. I thought I wrote it down. Maybe it's gone. Oh, here it is. So in that game, Brady really did not play that good in the second half. I know he's clutch. He's been to the Super Bowl before, but Brady had 3 picks in the second half in that game against the Packers. I don't think that's getting noted as much. The last time we saw him on the field, it was not going too good. He was missing some throws on that holding play that let the Buccaneers win the game. It was not a good throw. And if he did not hold the ball, or excuse me, hold Tyler Johnson, then I think the throw still would have been too far in front of him. Brady was missing some throws. I love Brady. I'm not going to try to sit here and doubt Brady because I know what he has done, but I just feel like this offense, yes, they put it together a lot, but I still feel like if they don't really put all the pieces together now like they did in that Lions game, then it's going to be tough for them to beat this Chiefs team.
All right, so unless there's any other points that want to be thrown out there, we can wrap this up. I mean, of course, you got another
If
one.
anyone hasn't,
Ryan, you got anything else to say?
I would just want to highlight one more thing if we have the time. Something to note.
We have plenty of time.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow, we're actually doing okay. Kansas City, they're going to be out. They're going to be without Eric Fisher, and then you also had Mitchell Schwartz, who is already on IR. So that's 2 really good offensive linemen that they won't have for this game. And I think against that Bucks great pass rush. You mentioned the good run defense they have, and the way they got pressure on Aaron Rodgers in the NFC Championship, I really think made a difference. So I know Mahomes is a bit more mobile because he's a lot younger, but I really think that'll make an impact with pressuring Mahomes and also pressuring the Chiefs' run game. So I think where the Bucks can get an advantage is that pass rush in between the trenches when they're on defense. I think that putting pressure on Mahomes, taking advantages of the weak spots in Kansas City's offensive line due to the injuries they have there, will be a major point of advantage for the Bucks. I honestly think that could be the name of the game, and
I feel
I
agree with you that their line is banged up, but I do feel like in the Packers game they're more attacking the edges, so the tackles, and so the tackles for the Chiefs, as far as I'm aware, are still going to be in, right? So that's really where they were getting all their money against Aaron Rodgers. That's why they're getting to him so much, and that's why they probably won that game against the Packers in the end. But as long as the tackles are okay, I don't feel like guys like Shaq Barrett are going to get into the backfield because the Chiefs' offensive line has been pretty good. Yeah. And with the Packers, their tackles were injured. Bakhtiari was out, and so I think that was
and the Bucs exploited that.
Yeah, exactly. I give it to them. I give credit to them. And with Shaq Barrett, who's your pick for MVP in this game, I give it to them. I just don't think they'll have the same exact success against the Chiefs. If they do, I might switch my pick. But because I don't think that, then I'm picking the Chiefs still.
Yeah, well, at least on here on ESPN, Fisher and Schwartz are listed as left and right tackle respectively.
Okay. Well, okay. So then, if I didn't know what position they exactly were, so if that's true, then that could have.
Yeah, I think that'll be a big reason, in my opinion, why the Bucs will come out on top.
There was people put on the COVID list too. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No, I saw that earlier today.
I forgot exactly who it was. I think it was the center and Mecole Hardman. So maybe.
No, it might have been DeMarcus Robinson.
Oh, it was Robinson. You're right. Yeah. So we'll continue to watch that as things go forward. And one more point I wanted to mention here was I know everyone could talk about how Tom Brady's going to be here for his 10th time, but really no one else on this Bucs team has been here before, right? And Gronk has been here, and that's virtually about it. But you look on the other side, all these Chiefs players were in this game last year virtually. There's really not that many players that are rookies or new people to this team that were not in the Super Bowl last year. So they know what this is going to feel like. They know what winning the Super Bowl feels like. They know all the emotions of it. So maybe this young Bucs team might get caught up in all that. It's just another factor to be thrown in there as well because I know Tom Brady has experience. There's no denying that, and I think that's going to be a huge plus for the Bucs. But all these Chiefs players really have Super Bowl experience, and down the line in past games, we've seen that Super Bowl experience does play a factor. It's different than any other game, no matter what people might tell you. It's different on all the players. Their emotions are really high. This is what it all comes down to. These Chiefs players have experienced it before, and this young Bucs team, maybe they'll step up to the challenge, but it's also not an easy challenge to step up to mentally.
Yes.
Just another point that I thought
Yeah,
was
I mean, it's
was
fair. I mean,
relevant.
we'll see. I mean, I feel like the Bucks also they have a lot of experienced players, but yeah, Super Bowl experience. That advantage definitely goes to Kansas City with pretty much the exact same core from last year back there going on the field this Sunday. So it'll be interesting. A lot of fun storylines to watch. We all think it'll be a close game, and I mean, we just
I've
me and
warmed up
Tyler
to
got the
the idea of
Bucks.
the Bucks
Yeah,
winning.
and
If they win, I
yeah.
won't be completely devastated.
Yeah.
But if you asked me that question 2 weeks ago, then my answer would be different. But
Yeah.
I've warmed up to it a bit more.
Well, that's good. So Jordan's got the Chiefs. Me and Tyler got the Bucks. Time will tell who is correct.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I went on my long rant in this video, but I do feel
whole
like
video.
I had my whole
Yeah.
thing set in stone. So I had a whole document that I have out here that I wanted to give to you guys because I didn't want to come into this video with emptiness on my decision and why I had such strong thoughts.
I don't think you ever come into
No.
a video with emptiness of things to say. So I don't see why that was an issue. But we got the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. It's exciting. Me and Ryan got the Buccaneers, and Jordan's got the Chiefs. We get to see Brady and Mahomes go at it again. It was that big AFC rivalry that we saw, and now in the Super Bowl, we get to see them come back together again and play. The wide receiver cores going against each other. Both teams got good defenses. Ryan mentioned that the offensive line for the Chiefs is their weakness. That's got to be attacked. It's going to be a fun one. I think we all believe that. This is a Super Bowl pick that a lot of people predicted at the beginning of the season. Credit to you if you got it right. It's kind of just one where you think, oh, this team and this team would make sense. And this is where we are. We got the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. We'll see who is right. We'll see who is the MVP. We're all excited. We hope you guys are too. You really should be. If you're not, then I don't know why you're watching this video, to be frank with you. But that's all we got to say about that. So now I'm just going to wrap this thing up. So make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, comment your opinions about the Super Bowl down below. Who's going to win? What's the score? Who's the Super Bowl MVP? Any other opinions you got on it? Go check out our Instagram. We'll probably post stuff about the Super Bowl on there maybe. And our podcast, we'll be talking about the Super Bowl. That comes out on the day you're watching this video, if you're watching the day this video came out. So go check that out anywhere you can find podcasts. Super Bowl's coming up, and with that, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.